Yo, what's good with y'all boys? My name is Fana and welcome back to another video. It's been a while. So for those of you who remember my last video I posted, remember when I said I didn't want to go long periods of time without uploading? Like I wanted to get back to like my uploading every 3 to 4 days kind of schedule. Yeah, that didn't happen in February at all. It was pitiful. It was very pitiful. You want to know what did happen though? My freaking immune system went on vacation. All right, and it was just such a beautiful experience. Okay, for like a whole like 3 to 4 weeks. All right, 3 to 4 weeks, my immune system was just like, you know what, you're on your own with this one. But anyways, what's a better way to start off March 1st than, you know, jumping into some PvP on Destiny 2 in 2024? What could possibly go wrong? Now, the build I'm doing today is kind of similar to the build I did back in early February as far as using Mask of Bacchus and Stasis, but this time we're going to be using Aegir Scepter. Now, Mask of Bacchus, basically it turns your dodge into like a blink. Whenever you blink, it gives you a nice little stasis damage boost. So, of course, we're using Aegir Scepter, which is arguably, I'm not saying it is, but it's arguably one of the best exotic trace rifles in the game. So, basically, the whole point of this build is for me to teleport and just abuse the damage boost I get to use on Aegir Scepter. And then, even on top of that, when you get your super, you can actually you can take your super and it will supercharge the trace rifle and do some stupid damage. One thing I will say, when I go a long time without doing a commentary video, I be stuttering like it's no one's bit. I just bit my tongue. How did I bite my tongue? Oh yeah, good teams. Yeah, no. Turn the corner, man. Hey, despite me being in the grave for like the entirety of February, we did get a bunch of new trailers and new announcements for games and movies. So for those who don't know, Avatar got a live action little release on Netflix. It's 8 episodes, and if you watch the little animated show growing up, you might like it, you might not. It's not like a freaking play-by-play of like the actual show by any means. No, it doesn't necessarily have to be. But, oh, my aim is terrible. But for what it was actually pretty solid. I think a lot of people, you know, for the majority, I think most people actually, like, liked it, so. Bro, where's my team at? Why am I in the middle and there's, like, nobody else out here? But, yeah, you got Avatar. They dropped a brand new Season 2 for Halo, which I don't know how it got greenlit after Season 1. People were thinking, you know, after Seasons 1, kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Controversy, I guess you can say. Season 1 of Halo is very controversial. Not controversial in the sense that they did something, like, you know, morally bad, but they just, like, you know, made not the best representation of what a Halo show could be. They dropped the Season 2, and to be completely honest, yeah, it's like, you know, we're back to square one. Them boys didn't listen to a single thing like anybody, like, you know, asked for. And it's interesting because there actually is like a very like small, I guess you could say, like a small little group of people that actually enjoy the show for some freaking reason. That dude actually mapped me with like that much health, man. You gotta be kidding me. I mean, don't get me wrong. You're free to like anything you want, okay? You know, I'm pretty sure there's people that love the Dragon Ball Evolution, little Dragon Ball freaking Z live action crap they tried to make all those years ago. I'm pretty sure somebody on the face of this planet actually liked it, you know what I'm saying? Does that mean the product that Dragon Ball Evolution was? Does that mean it was good? Absolutely not. But everyone is free to enjoy whatever they want, however they want, in their own capacity, man. Actually, I'm gonna loop back around to Halo and Avatar in a second here, but also they dropped some more trailers for Godzilla New Empire, and your boy is a big Godzilla fan. So you got Avatar, you got Dune. While I was sick, I was watching this show called Snowfall. That was pretty solid. Now, it is a pretty, like, it's not like old, but like I did kind of like, you know, jump onto the watch train of it very late later than other people did. Oh, please. Yes. Pull it. Turn that. No, where is he? The freaking crackhead's over here. Shredded. Love it. But I'm telling you guys, man, when you actually get this thing going, when you get the overflow from your super into this thing, you are shredding now. And I think Burning Ball is one of the more tankier supers out of the out of the Titan bunch. And also this past Wednesday on FX, they dropped a show called Shogun, and it's basically based in the I think like the 18, it's either the 18 or 1700s. I'm pretty sure it's the 1800s though, but it's like a, you know, Japanese theme, a lot of great actors in it. It's very, you know, another gritty show, a little bit of a slow burn for some people. I don't see everybody, you know, jumping onto the show, especially since a lot of people don't like to deal with subtitles. But yeah, because I was telling my coworker about it, and I was like, yeah, there's like subtitles in the show and everything, but it's still like really good as long as you're paying attention. But like if you watch anime, you've watched an anime with subtitles, right? I always thought that was like pretty normal. But like this dude comes back, he tells me, he was like, man, I couldn't make it more than 20 minutes, man. There's too many subtitles for me to read, and I can't read and watch at the same time. And I'm just like, huh? I was like, you mean you can't read and comprehend a TV show at the same time? I'm like, huh? There's definitely been some solid TV shows and movies that came out in the month of February, and I guess today being March, Dune came out. So yeah, definitely check out some of that stuff. Avatar, Shogun, Dune, I'm gonna check that out. Elden Ring, they got an announcement trailer for their DLC, or they got an actual like showcase gameplay trailer, story trailer, whatever you want to call it. And for those of you who don't know, we're definitely going to be on that. Now, I hate that last time I did a playthrough, a lot of like my footage I either like record a whole bunch and the audio didn't like freaking work right, or I played it a lot and just forgot to record. Like that's how much fun I had with it. Because I think I made like 3 videos, but in actuality, like the amount of like hours played I have on, because I have a character on there, it's like a level 185, and I think I have at least, I want to say at least 100 hours put in on that character alone. So, and then there was like a bunch of like, you know, stupidity going on the internet as, you know, expected. Some people were sitting here moaning and crying about it being $40, or about it possibly costing $40. Meanwhile, you got people who, you know, play games like Call of Duty where you pay like $20 just to buy a freaking cosmetic skin or something. Or I'll even one up that, you know, people sat there and paid full price for Modern Warfare 3. They sat there and paid $70 for a glorified DLC, man. Like, I remember when that game came out, I genuinely couldn't tell the difference. Like, because in Discord, my boy was sharing his screen, right? And I had forgot the game even came out. So when he was sharing his screen and I was watching him, I was just like, bro, you're playing the new one? He was like, yeah. And I was like, dude, I could not tell the difference. Graphics jump wasn't much of a change. The gameplay wasn't much of a change. They don't really have much new anything. It's literally just like a glorified DLC. Nice one. You almost had me. As far as Destiny 2, I really didn't bother to keep my pulse on anything news related about this game. I have no idea what the heck didn't happen. They probably done dropped so many updates. They probably had patch notes. I have no idea what didn't happen in February when it pertains to Destiny 2. I'll probably have to watch like an Astrocross video or something like that to kind of get myself up to speed fully. All I know is Final Shape better be, look, all I know is Bungie better put their best foot forward. Now, I did hear that they sat there and blew through like a whole lot of bread. Like, Sony's kind of, you know, not too happy with them with their money management. Because I want y'all to remember, okay, Sony sat there and bought Bungie for a lot of bread, okay? They bought Bungie for a lot more than, you know, than what any other normal company probably would have even paid for, to be honest. Alright, y'all boys, so we're going to try to go on a little bit of a run. I got my super, I'm going to overcharge my Aegir Scepter, and we're going to see what we can do, unless I get murked by a bunch of freaking threadlings, man. That is unfortunate. I was saying, Avatar: The Last Airbender live action TV show does a pretty solid job of portraying, or at least, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word? I don't want to stutter. What's the word I am looking for? Adapting. It does a really solid job of adapting, you know, the first chapter of the animated show onto the you know, onto the, well, not big screen, but home screen, I guess you could say. And I just want to preface this, whenever people, you know, take adaptations, wherever it's like a TV show, movie, comic book, like, okay, from like how I always use like the Marvel and DC movies, for example, right? But more so for the Marvel movies for this example, because the MCU, for example, the first part of the MCU from, you know, the first Iron Man movie all the way up until, like, you know, Infinity War and some of the Spider-Man movies that came out afterward. What I praised Marvel and Disney on the most during that time period was how they were able to take storylines from the books or from like the cartoon and adapt them to the big screen and make them all kind of blend in a way that made sense, especially since they didn't have access to like all of their, like, you know, the property characters like the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. So like a prime example, right? Infinity War. Okay, so of course Infinity War wasn't exactly like the comic books, and I don't think any person that read the actual, you know, book story wanted it to be exactly like that, because I ain't gonna lie, Thanos was going buck wild and it would have been way too complicated. Especially since you have, like, you know, people who don't read the books, or they're not like super into comics, but they like the concept of superhero movies, so they're invested into the movie. So they simplified it in a way that made sense to casual viewers, but they also like streamlined it so, you know, the people who know the source material could recognize it and be like, okay, I see what y'all are doing, but they do it in such a good way that everybody can enjoy it. Avatar: The Last Airbender, I think, you know, at least like the live action TV show, I think they do a good job with, you know, taking, you know, adapting it from the, you know, animated show and bringing it to, you know, the live action screen, but bringing it to live action. Basically, they did a really good job. The action is really good. The CGI was actually really good. It was a lot better than what I expected it to be. You want to nitpick? Yeah, some of the acting is a little funky, you know what I'm saying? It's a little funky here and there. Some of the slight changes they made is slightly different, but for the most part, they streamlined it, and I thought they did a pretty solid job. It's way better than the freaking movie that they tried to do. I don't know what the heck that was. So like, those are like good examples of, like, you know, having great adaptations, right? You know what I'm saying? You take the source material, you adapt it to the big screen, you might change some slight stuff to kind of make the story flow a little bit, you cut the fat off, and you make a really nice and very respectable product that people can recognize, and it's really good. And then you got the Halo TV show, as what they like to call the silver timeline. I don't know what these crackheads at Paramount and 343 or whoever the freak was, you know, that green lighted that nonsense, man, but it ain't it. It's like I said, Paramount wanted to make a sci-fi TV show. Okay, that's apparent. They wanted to make a sci-fi TV show, and I understand. Their problem that they probably had was the fact that they wanted to make a sci-fi TV show, but they had no way of, like, you know, pulling people in to make people want to watch it. So the only, you know, option they had was to sit there and tag Halo along to it, so people would see the Halo, you know, little title, be like, okay, I played the Halo games. Halo has a great story, great books, a lot of lore that you could really dive into. Well, essentially, Halo, the TV show, is essentially a TV show called Halo. It has, like, you know, a couple characters with, like, you know, the names of, you know, characters from the actual game in the books, and that's probably about it. Yeah, it's nothing like the actual, you know, source material in any way, shape, or form. Or at least it's not recognizable. Like, the only thing that you would recognize if you were, like, you know, an avid Halo fan or something like that, you would probably recognize, okay, Master Chief and his armor. You would recognize the elites. You would recognize the jackals, you know, probably some of the guns that they use, you know what I'm saying? But other than that, the guns don't sound like it at all, which, I mean, I'm not really nitpicking. I don't care that much. My whole critique of the entire show is that the narrative it's obvious that they didn't want to make a Halo TV show. They wanted to make a sci-fi show, but they didn't have, like, any kind of selling point to actually sell it and get people interested in it if it wasn't called Halo. Which is kind of sad, because here's the thing, they could have made a whole lot of money if they would have adapted it in a way that, you know, not only like the Halo fans would have enjoyed it, because I get it, you know, Halo, there's a lot of stuff going on, there's a lot of lore to it. So I get, like, you know, if they didn't want to, like, you know, directly tell, like, you know, pull a freaking story out and try to tell it, I get that understanding. But take, for example, Forward Until Dawn, right? It was like an old movie that came out back in, I think it was around the time Halo 4, I want to say Halo 4, Halo 5 came out. It was around that little time period. And literally, they captured, you know, they captured the UNSC, they captured Halo. They literally, in that little little movie that they did, they captured Halo perfectly. From the way the guns sounded, from the way Chief acted, from, like, the narrative, from the, you know, the visual effects to everything. Like, everything was captured and adapted very well. And, like, let me tell you what they do. So, like, the episodes are right around, like, you know, 40, sometimes even like 50 minutes long. It just depends, right? You know, 40 to 50 minutes long, right? So what will happen is, you know, like, some, like, the best parts of the story is, like, the action, right, when they're actually, like, in their suits and everything. But keep in mind, like, okay, so in, like, a 40-50 minute episode, you know, maybe that action little sequence is probably, like, maybe 15, maybe 20 minutes of it, excluding the recent episode that they had, which I think was episode 4, which was, you know, it was called The Fall of Reach, but, you know, if you played any of the Halo games, you wouldn't know any better that is, it was, nowhere near close to what The Fall of Reach was, you know, supposed to be. But like, you know, I love like seeing people online, like they sit there and act like, you know, people like me are hating on the show for the sake of hating on it. Like if the junk is trash, the junk is trash. I don't know what to tell you. I feel like, now I think the people who do like it, okay, there's two kinds of people who like it. People who don't know anything about Halo and they just want something to watch because they're absolutely bored, so they just pull up the Halo TV show and they're like, okay, look, this is great, you know what I'm saying? It just does just enough to keep their attention span and they can consume it, move on. It's nothing complicated. The story isn't nothing, you know what I'm saying? At least like the version that they're adapting isn't anything like special. It's nothing, you know, groundbreaking. And then you just got people who are so desperate to have a Halo, like anything that, you know, they're just gonna love it regardless, which I get it. You know, that's what, you know, Star Wars fans were going through with the sequel trilogy. You know, they just wanted Star Wars anything for the longest, and you know, once they got a sequel trilogy, it was just like, hey, it's all we got, it's what we got, so we're gonna have to deal with it. Just because that's the best you're ever gonna get for that time period does not mean you sit there and, you know, full blown just blindly support it. I think blind support is like half the reason like why like a lot of like, you know, big name, you know, IPs have kind of like went into the freaking ground. Like when you sit there and let a company, like when you sit there and like there's a company that puts out some bull crap, right? Like look at Disney, right? Disney was sitting there putting out bull crap for like 2 to 3 years straight. I mean, they had these week behind Disney Plus shows. They had these week behind movies. I mean, they had the Marvels. I mean, they just had like a lot of weak stuff coming out, right? They dropped all this weak stuff and people were trying to sit there and pretend that that junk was good, right? And look what happened. Here's somebody that has watched the Halo series. You watch season 1, you watch season 2, and you utterly think it's actually like a really good show. Then I'm not hating on you whatsoever. You know, that's what you think. And if you like it, then you like it. I mean, hey, I'm not going to stop you from watching it. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I haven't like watched any of the episodes. You know, I've gone on my way. I've watched the episodes. You know, I've seen every single episode. I've some of them, you know, if it's one of those like filler episodes, I tend to skip through it because, look, man, I'm not gonna sit here and watch 50 minutes worth of filler. That's just not happening. And that's essentially what episode 6 was. Okay, so they had the Fall of Reach episode, which was pretty action-packed for the most part. Now, was it, you know, when you look at the Fall of Reach like game, right? When you look at Halo Reach and you see like the intricacy of that story, and you see what they did in the TV show, you would see why a lot of people who are fans of the Halo Reach storyline are kind of pissed at what they did. For one, they relegated it to 1 episode, and then the next episode after that, it's like, okay, so you have an entire planet of, like, you know, people die, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, Covenant shows up, they glass the entire planet. So you mean to tell me all that happens, and the next episode you jump into some side quest filler, bruh? Like, really? That's what we do? And that's why, like, a lot of people were kind of pissed about the TV show. I think, like, at its core, it's important that you adapt it and it's recognizable. Halo, the TV show, it's not a recognizable show as far as, like, storytelling is concerned. Yeah, you can put the Master Chief, like, you can put the cosmetic part in it. Yeah, you can put Master Chief in it. Yeah, you can call the guy Master Chief, but if he actually doesn't do what Master Chief does, if you have characters like Captain Keyes who don't act like Captain Keyes, and people who, the core fan base who, you know, for all intents and purposes, made it even relevant enough for you to even make a movie out of it, you might want to respect the material. You know, people are going to resort to saying, yeah, you guys are just man children. Now, look, I'm not really nitpicking the show as hard as some other people are. Some people are just tearing it to shreds. Like, even the whole Master Chief taking his helmet off thing, right? I know in the video games, technically when you're playing as him, he never takes his helmet off. But I know canonically, like in the books, he does have instances where he does take his helmet off. But anyway, that is Aegir's Scepter, y'all boys. I think what I might do, I might get some more gameplay just so I can put like a little highlight tape for y'all in the beginning. But if you enjoyed this video, you made it all the way to the end, I really do appreciate you. Definitely try this build out with Mask of Baccharis and Aegir's Scepter. Very powerful. Ammo economy is a little funky, but I think you'll get used to it regardless. But that's it for today, y'all boys. Y'all take it easy. Your boy Fana is back, and I will see you in the next video.